say thank you to some of our Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're doing well. My name is Matt Dewar. I'm the Executive Director of ASA Ohio. We are one of the organizations involved in putting this PAVE event on, and really want to thank you for participating. Our industry is changing all the time, and you guys are here learning more and more and more, and that's just plain awesome. So congratulations. Bruce, we see Bruce back there.
Barry.
He's at his home in Atlanta, Georgia, enjoying the weather. It's 73 degrees down there. I'm in Cleveland, and it's freezing cold. So, but again, thank you. I do want to say thank you to some of our great sponsors, because they make this event happen for us and this education for the industry happen. So just a few names. Big thank you to Napa, Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone, Shopware, Dorman Products, CTI, WTI, AutoLeap, Advanced Professionals, AE Tool and Computers, and TechMetric. So thank you for being a part of the PAVE event and your support. We couldn't do it without you. So Barry is here with us, Barry Reinhardt. He's with PPG MVP Training. He's got this is a brand new class workshop, and I'm excited to hear it. Hopefully you all are too. And Barry has over 25 years in the business. He's done business with PPG and ExxonMobil over the last 25 years, has a lot to offer, has worked with a lot of shops across the country, learned a lot from them, and he's going to share that stuff with you today. Barry's topic is going to be enhancing the customer experience. We all know that it's changed since the pandemic. Amazon is delivering products to people's houses within 2 hours of their ordering them. Grocery stores and Walmarts of the world are delivering products to people's doors, and so the expectations changed, and we have to change with it with the industry. They're going to start expecting more from us. So, Barry, take over, my man.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate the introduction. Welcome, everybody. This is a virtual learning session on enhancing the customer experience. As Matt said, my name is Barry Reinhardt. I work with PPG. I am in the Business Solutions Group with the MVP training program. So I have the opportunity to wander around this great country and sometimes even the rest of the world working with shops such as yourselves to help you improve your operations and your process. My goal for today, the time we're going to spend today, this afternoon, is to provide you with some ideas and tools that can help you better understand and enhance your customer's experience. So I want to ask you real quick that if I were to have you describe your customer, would you say that they were old, young, somewhere in between? Would you say that they're wealthy or just getting by? Do you think that they really care about their vehicles, or is it just a mode of transportation for them? Do they want to know all the details about the repair and get updated along the way, or they just want you to contact them when it's over and tell them to come and get their vehicle so they can get on with their lives? If you answered yes to all these descriptors, then you know that every customer wants and needs are different. They all have different expectations, don't they? Knowing how to interact with these customers based on their individual needs not only is going to help you improve your customer satisfaction scores and their experiences, but it's going to help you retain and gain more loyal customers, and that'll help you grow your business as well. So what is the customer experience? Let's define it. Zendesk.com states that the customer experience is everything related to a business that affects a customer's perception and their feeling about it. The customer experience is the sum of all the interactions that a customer has with an organization over the life of that relationship with that company or that brand. To put it succinctly, it's all the interactions between the customer and your business. That's you. So why is that important? Why do we need to manage, or why do we want to enhance our customer experiences? Well, one of the reasons we enhance our customer experiences is to grow our business. It's to gain more market share. Now, I understand that a lot of us right now are booking 2, 3, 4, maybe even 6 weeks out. So why would you want to have more business come into your shop, right? You're full right now. Why do you need more business? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's your competition. Today, more than ever before, we work hard, extremely hard, to gain market share. And most importantly, our customers' loyalty. We strive to make our brands not only recognizable, but have the reputation of delighting the customers during their experience with us. There are many benefits to good customer experiences, right? One of them, number one, is happy, delighted customers, right? They're happy with the service that we provided them. And guess what? They're going to tell their friends. How many of you think about social media these days, and how many people are getting on social media and talking about their experiences, both positive and bad, right? Most of our customers, and this way we can gain customers at reduced costs. That's another benefit of having great customer experiences. The word of mouth marketing is alive and well. Another benefit that a lot of people don't think about with having great customer experiences is that it improves your workflow. You have less interruptions during the day. You have less customers calling at inopportune times to ask questions. You have less complaints that you're having to deal with and handle. And that frees you up to work on more business so you can handle more volume. And it creates a better work environment for your internal customers, your employees, right? So if you're thinking about this is all well and good, and it sounds like it's kind of pie in the sky, but why do I want to take the time to make my customers feel like royalty? Well, the answer is pretty easy, right? Your competition. If you're not taking care of your customer and you're not improving the experiences that they have with your business, then your competition is, and they're going to take that business away from you. They're paying attention to what to deal with and how to take care of their customers better. So we want to grow our business. We want to keep going as an ongoing concern. Then we need to be able to provide that value, provide that service that everybody else is providing too, and have better service and better relations with our customers. Remember the benefit I talked about earlier of improved workflow and less headaches, less interruptions? So let me suggest to you as well that when a customer isn't handled properly, it adds to your workload. Customers that feel uneasy or unsure about their repair process tend to have more questions or concerns along the way. That generates more calls into your business or more visits to your business than you have to deal with on a busy day. It creates more stress for you and your teams. So by getting the customer experience right, we can actually create more time for ourselves to focus on what we need to complete. When we're finished with the session today, you're going to have a better understanding of the principles and values needed to give the customer a better experience. You're going to also discover ways on how you can improve the perception by your customers and within your market. You're going to learn that by doing some simple activities and modifying your behaviors, you can elevate your customer experience based on their different personalities. That's going to become more apparent. And we're going to talk to you about how to diffuse and handle angry customers as well. So let's get started, right? Let's dive in and get right to the meat of the subject. What drives our customers' experiences, right? What drives our customers' experiences? It's their expectations, right? Our customers' experiences are determined by their expectations on how they're going to be treated during their engagement with us. Each time we make contact with them, they're determining whether or not we're exceeding, meeting, or not meeting those expectations. And the sum of these interactions culminates with their overall customer experience. So where do they get their expectations from? Right? Well, it's pretty simple. They get them from you. Your customers' expectations are developed and reinforced by you and by everyone else and every other company in every other industry that they've ever done business with or have heard stories of on social media. In the past, present, online, through a friend, those are all setting your customers' expectations. Now, I know it doesn't seem fair, but it's reality. Your customers' experiences is not only being compared to other businesses in our own industries, but every other industry in the world as well. So when we're talking about trying to enhance our customer experiences, we need to look outside our industry. We don't just need to understand what our collision competitors are doing or our mechanical services competitors are doing, but what are other industries doing to up their service game as well, to create a better customer experience for their customers? So we're going to take a quick look at a few that we can get some ideas from and see if maybe we can apply those, right? Here's 3 great examples of companies that have worked on and continuously work on to enhance their customers' experience, right? Most may not remember this, but Starbucks was the very first company to offer free Wi-Fi to all their customers while they were in their stores. At the time, that was unheard of, but the customers loved it. It created a great experience for them and made them want to hang out in those Starbucks, right? But today, most customers or most companies like Starbucks or that compete with Starbucks, they offer free Wi-Fi to their customers. You may even offer free Wi-Fi to your customers when they're in the shops, in your businesses, in the waiting areas as well. See, the lesson here is that you have to continually find new ways to up your game because your competition will eventually copy what you're doing. One of the other issues that they faced were the long wait lines for their products, their drinks and their food products when people would come into their stores. So what did they do? They created an app that people carry around on their phones and they order ahead of time. When they show up at the store, whether they're going through the drive-through or they're walking in to sit down in a chair, their food or their drink is ready and waiting for them. Talk about instant gratification and upping your customer service. I was in a McAllister's Deli earlier this week having lunch with a friend. We walked in and there was a long wait line to get up to the counter to order our food before we were able to sit down. But we noticed from some marketing material that they had on the tables, they had created an app as well. We could sit directly down at the table, open up that app on our phones, order our meals, and it was delivered. So we didn't have to stand in that long wait line. That's an idea or an example of another food service following what Starbucks had done with their application. Now, what about Nordstrom? A lot of people have heard the Nordstrom stories, right? Nordstrom started out as a shoe store. As they started to expand, they moved into a new, bigger building that had previously been occupied by a company that sold tires. After they took over this new building, a customer of the previous business came back to return tires that they had bought from the previous organization. I think we all know what Nordstrom did. It's been legendary around customer service classes for years. Yeah, they took those tires back. They allowed that customer to return those tires. Now, today, when you shop at Nordstrom, you have salespeople that go out of their way to make you feel like royalty. While you're shopping there, you feel like you have a personal assistant helping you along the way. And although they no longer allow you to return tires there, they're known to allow returns on items not purchased there as a customer convenience. Here's one a little closer to home, Discount Tire. Although they are a tire company, or they are a retailer of tires at discount prices, they really specialize in the customer experience, right? Customers can either walk in or make an appointment online, and they've eliminated the long customer waiting times. While the customer waits, they can either have a seat in the comfortable waiting area, or they can watch the pit crew style technicians quickly and efficiently work on their vehicle. On completion of the tire service, a very professional staff member will pull the vehicle up to the front, walk you out to it, walk you around, and explain the service that was performed, right? In addition, what they did during the COVID times is that they didn't even make the customer get out of the vehicle. They met them in the driveway. When they came up at the appointed time, they guided them into a service bay, and the customer remained safely in their vehicle as they performed the needed service. Now, I get it. You're probably thinking that those are some great examples of customer service, but you don't sell coffee or food, and you don't sell clothing. So how does that help me? Well, just like any of these other businesses, you do sell service, and you're competing with your competition for customers. So when we look outside our industry for ideas, we need to ask ourselves, what can we take away from that? What lesson can we learn? What can we apply to our situation, our business, right? We may not be able to, jumped a little ahead there, sorry. We may not be able to create an app for people to order ahead of time, but we can walk our customers out to the vehicles after that they're done and explain exactly what was happened, what we did, and provide exemplary service instead of tossing them the keys and expecting them to hit the alarm button to find their car or their vehicle in the parking lot, right? So the key here is look outside your industry when you want to come up with great examples. Now, we can't do everything that every other industry does, so we do need to make sure that we are looking inside our industry too and seeing what our competitors are doing and if they're doing anything before or that we can improve on. We need to understand what each of our contact points are with our customers, right? And we're going to get into contact points in a little bit later, but at each of those contact points, we need to understand, do we have satisfied customers? Meaning, are we meeting their expectations? So if we want to know if we're meeting their expectations or having satisfied customers, and we want to enhance those experiences at those contact points, we should ask ourselves, in today's competitive market, is customer satisfaction enough to create that customer loyalty that we're looking to achieve? To answer this, we really need to understand what satisfied means as it relates to customers and their experience. A satisfied customer simply means that you did what was expected. No part of the process really delighted them or did not delight them. It surely doesn't guarantee that they're going to come back when they need your type of programs or services again. And if you're looking to improve your CSI scores, simply giving the customer what was expected isn't going to do it. They may not even answer the survey when they get it. So the bottom line here is that satisfied really means mediocre. It's industry standard. It's what they expected when they walked in the door from all the research that they did and what they've seen of you online or heard about you through social media or through their friends. It really wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. It was just what's expected. It's mediocre. It's average. It's industry standard. You gave them what they wanted or what they expected. No more, no less. See, most of us don't measure our customers' experience until after the fact, right? After the job is done through like CSI indexing. This is when we can no longer improve that performance for those customers, right? These reports are important. They're valuable. They give us information that we could use or we can use to improve our customers' experiences, but they're lag measures. We need to understand what's happening at each of these contact points throughout our own processes. And we need to understand whether or not those experiences, those contact points, are exceeding, meeting, or not meeting those expectations. All right, we need to dig in and do some hard work and figure out what's happening here. And then we need to determine how can we measure whether or not we're making an impact. Now, to do that, we need to really understand our contact points better, right? So let's talk about that. For those of you who aren't familiar with customer contact points, they are anything a customer interacts with in your business that brings them into contact with your business. It can be human interaction. It can be physically coming to the shop. It can be phone calls. It can be internet. It can be emails. It's anything that customer has contact with you and your business. So here are some examples, right? Yelp reviews. That's a customer contact on the web. Your marketing campaigns. That's a customer contact. Do they look appropriately and do they attract people? Shop's website. That's a customer contact. Anytime somebody comes into the shop or calls into the shop, that's a customer contact. When you deliver a vehicle at the end of the repair, that's a customer contact, right? Again, when a customer comes into contact with your business, when they connect with your business, that's a contact point. We've listed some of them here on the flip chart or on the PowerPoint slide here. But there are many, many, many more that happen in your business, right? And we need to identify what each of those contact points are if we're going to enhance them. Now, after you understand what customer contact points are, you also have to determine what are the wants and needs of your customers relative to each of those contact points. You see, wants and needs are simply motivators that drive your customer to buying decisions or to feeling comfortable with your business. So for each contact point, you need to understand how you stack up. Do you exceed? Do you meet? Or do you underperform? Some examples of wants and needs at contact points are friendliness, feeling comfortable, feeling welcomed, fairness, understanding and empathy about the situation that they're in, information that you're providing, alternatives and options, and trust, right? So these are important needs, or these are important wants and needs that you need to identify at each of your contact points. So you want to identify those wants and needs, and you can simply answer quickly. If you can quickly identify your customers' wants and needs, then you understand how to satisfy them or exceed those expectations as well. And you're ensuring that you're building a loyal customer and helping them make those buying decisions easier. Now, again, I've been talking about doesn't meet, meets, and exceeds, right? You need to understand at each contact point whether or not you're not meeting those expectations. That's a bad experience for the customer. You're meeting the expectations. That's industry standard. That's neither good nor bad, merely what was anticipated. Or you're wowing your customer, right? And this allows you to determine or to exceed those expectations and really start to build those loyal customers. All right. So your contact points. This is a little homework that you're going to have to do when you get back to your businesses, right? You need to identify ways to elevate your customer service by identifying or listing out each of your contact points. Now, you can do this in an Excel sheet. You can do this on a notepad. You can do it on a whiteboard. You can do it on a flip chart, grease board. You can do it in chalk out on the concrete, but you need to list out all your customer contact points, websites, phone calls, point of loss phone calls, scheduling phone calls, update phone calls, delivery confirmation phone calls. These are each points of contact. You need to identify those, and then you need to determine, hopefully just with more than just yourself, whether or not each of those contact points exceeds, meets, or does not meet your customer's expectations. You can create a point value system to them where you identify a 1, 2, 3. 1 is below or does not meet expectations. You give the point of contact a score of 2. If it meets its ho-hum industry standard, you give yourself a 3 if that contact point exceeds. And then you add up your scores and you look down through each of those contact points and you see how many 1s, 2s, and 3s you have. And then it gets to the work. You have to determine, is there a way that you can turn those 1s into 2s and those 2s into 3s? And how do you keep the 3s at 3s? I like to look at the contact points a little different. So for those of you that are more visual and want robust conversations with your team members about each of your contact points, I like to map out the contact points on a big whiteboard or a flip chart, where I draw these lines like you see up on the screen here, where you have exceeds expectations, you have a meets expectations, you have a doesn't meet expectations. And then we take sticky notes and we assign a contact point to each of the sticky notes. And then I have discussions, or we have discussions with the team members as a group on where each of these contact points resides. Does it meet expectations? Does it exceed expectations? Does it not meet expectations? And why, right? What are some examples of what's going on that give each of the team members the belief or the feelings on where they want to put these? And it matters whether or not, like CP1 here in my example, is fully in the blue meets expectations range, where CP4 is, it's just crossing over into that meets expectations range, but it's still in the does not meet expectations range. So there's still more work to do it. It's a little more fluid. After you've had the discussion and you've mapped out each of your contact points, then you want to assign, or you want to look at, what are the needs? What are the needs for each of those contact points, right? Because understanding the needs in each of those contact points is going to allow you to start brainstorming. What is it that you're not doing? What could you do better to enhance that customer experience for that contact points? Now, after you've identified the needs and you've decided what can you do differently around one of those contact points to enhance it, of course, you need to validate with the customer. When you're making changes, make sure what you're doing is meeting or exceeding those customer expectations. And measure the performance. How does that affect your CSI scores, right? What can we do differently? How can we enhance that? That's going to drive those numbers to the customer satisfaction index scores and improve our customer service. Get those people talking about those wow moments out there with their friends and their families and their neighbors. I've ran the workshop, the flow chart, like I showed in a couple slides back, with several businesses in several different industries. And it really does generate robust discussions around where each of those contact points measures up, does not meet, meets, or exceeds in each of those levels. And we get some really good brainstorming going about what can we do differently? Where can we enhance? Where can we improve? And where do we stay consistent with what we're currently already doing, right? It's a lot of fun, and it's a good exercise to run with your team. Now, one of the other things that we can do in order to enhance our customers' experiences is relate better to the customers, right? When you relate better to your customers, that will enhance their perception of you. That will enhance their relationship with you. Relating to the customer simply means understanding the community in which most of them live. Having an idea what your customers do for a living could help you explain your processes in terms that they understand versus using our own technical jargon, our own industry jargon, which they may not understand. Can you relate the repair to the businesses they're in? For example, if your business, if your shop is near an airport, many of your customers may be associated with the airline industry, right? And you could relate to your estimating and diagnostic processes to their pre-flight checks that they need to do in order to make sure that they're having a safe flight, or they're going to have a safe flight. In our case, a safe repair. Things like that. Explaining the repair process in terms that that customer can relate to will always make them feel more comfortable and confident with their decisions to have you perform the repairs, right? Also, we need to turn off our autopilot and really listen to what they're saying, right? Not thinking about what we're going to tell them next or what we have to do in the next 30 minutes with another repair, but listening to what the customer has to say, really listening to what they're saying, right? They will tell you how they want to be interacted with. Remember, it may be the 100th time you're hearing a similar story that day, but it's the first time for them that they're telling it. Maybe the 100th time that you're giving a similar answer to somebody that day, but it's the first time that they're hearing your answer, your response. You need to be aware of your presence. That means, what attitude are you in? Are you in a friendly mode? Or are you a little off today and you're a little upset and you're carrying that forward into your actions? What's your body language telling people? What's the tone of your voice and your facial expressions telling them? It's a huge part about connecting with people. And if you want them to have better experiences, then you need to connect with them. Another way we can think about this is, how do we apply the golden rule or the platinum rule, right? Everybody knows what the golden rule is. It's treat others as you want them to treat you, as you want to be treated by them, right? Well, the platinum rule says treat others as they want to be treated by you. Now, the platinum rule was coined by Milton Bennett in the 1970s, and it was really spread throughout the business world by Dr. Tony Alessandra in his book, The Platinum Rule. And where he gets this, and he says in the platinum rule, is that we should aim to treat others as they want to be treated. You see, other people aren't the same as us. You're not the same as me, exactly. I'm not the same as you. We have different likes. We have different wants, right? We express our values just a little differently than each other does. So why would we want others to treat us how they want to be treated versus how we want to be treated? And your customers are the same way. They want to be treated how they want to be treated. So we need to find that out. One of the things that we can do to determine that is understand their personalities better. You want to enhance your experience? Understand your customers' personalities, right? There are many different ways to describe personalities, but it can be broken down into the simplest form, 4 types. You have analytical people, you have amiable personality style people, you have drivers, and you have expressives. Understanding each of these types can help you adjust your communication style when you're interacting with these different personalities on how they want to be treated. Let's dig into this just a little deeper. Your analyticals, right? They analyze everything. Often, a lot of times they overanalyze everything, and they're slow to make decisions because they're still looking for that little bit of information, that little bit of facts. So when you're interacting with these individuals that are analytical in nature, you don't want to pressure them into a decision, but you want to be able to provide them the correct facts and information that they need in order to make a decision. They get hung up on ambiguity. Speak softly, calmly, be patient. They'll close down to harsh interactions. Be in an ask mode, not a tell mode, right? This means you want to ask them the relevant questions that's going to lead them down the buying decision. Give them some time to process that information and encourage them to make the decisions. Amiables. These are individuals, this is the personality style that goes along to get along. They just want to fit in, right? They're going to look to you for a lot of guidance. You're the expert. They're going to look to you to tell them what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. But you need to do this in a gentle rather than brash, abrupt way. They do not do well with harsh people. In fact, amiables will do anything to avoid conflict or the appearance of conflict. It stresses them out, and they will move with their feet out the door and go somewhere else. So speak with kindness and consideration. Give them the details on what they need to do in order to move the repair process forward. Be that expert. Now, drivers, right? Our drivers are the individuals that are concerned about the results. They don't like their time wasted. They want people to get right to action moving forward. So we need to pick up our pace, and we need to get right to the point, right? They want to be in task mode. They want to see you moving the process forward or hear what you're doing to move the process forward. You need to be able to give them some clear choices, talk about the clear results that they'll get from those choices that they make, and let them make the decisions and show appreciation for their quick decision-making skills in order to move processes forward, right? What about expressives? Expressives like to have fun. You're usually going to hear an expressive enter the room before you actually see them. They enter the room mouth first, right? They're jovial, they're talking, they're joking a lot. So we need to have a sense of humor. We need to lighten up and have fun when we're interacting with these expressives. We need to be able to build a relationship with them. They'll respond better and have a better experience if they feel that they know you on a personal level. Have an appreciation for their humor, but make sure that you're checking their facts and figures because they tend to exaggerate a little bit. So if you're able to modify your delivery, you modify your delivery to meet their personality, they're going to hear you better. You're going to be able to reach them better, and they're going to have a better experience. One of the best examples I heard of this is there's a shop in the Midwest somewhere, and this CSR had developed over time certain questions that she would ask the customers as they came in. And based on how they answered those questions, she was able to identify their personalities. And then she could modify her approach in order to deal with them how they wanted to be treated, whether they were an expressive, an analytical, a driver, or an amiable, and build that relationship. She had some of the highest CSI scores that I've ever seen, and had customers that would call back and only want to interact with her because she was able to modify her approach and give them the experience that wowed them, that made them want to come back, right? So this is what we're talking about, is looking for ways to move your customers forward. Now let's take a minute to acknowledge that no one is perfect. Murphy is going to show up and apply his law. Murphy's law, everybody knows what that is, right? Something's going to not go as was planned. And one of the toughest aspects of your job is dealing with difficult customers. So how can you defuse these situations and possibly turn a bad situation into a better one? First, hopefully it's not your fault. So don't get defensive. Now, it's only natural to want to defend oneself when somebody's yelling at you or they appear to be getting upset and taking it out on you. But all that does is escalate the situation. So we need to instead take a step back, keep our cool, not take things personally, right? And try to calm the situation down. Now, I know that's easier said than done, and we're going to explore a few ways to deal with these interactions so that you can not only get the customer to calm down, but you can save that relationship as well. One of the things that you need to remember is that you get paid to pretend to care on days when you don't. In the collision business, in the repair business, customers are generally upset with their situation, not necessarily you and the shop. So on days when the customer's problems seem far less than what's going on in your life, you've got to put yourself aside, step into their shoes, and make them feel that this is one of the worst things that you've heard all week. You put a virtual arm around them, their shoulder, and you reassure them that it's all going to be okay and how you're going to solve their problem. Because that's what they really want to hear. Remember, even if you think that their issue is no big deal, it's a big deal to him. So you have to treat it that way. So how do you deal with an emotionally charged customer, right? Here are some easy steps that you can remember. One is you need to identify the emotion that you're feeling right now. When somebody is coming at you, if they're yelling at you, if they're angry, they're upset, identify the emotion that you're feeling, because when you identify it, that gives you the split second you need, the 8 seconds that you need in order to respond versus react, right? If I can identify somebody's making me angry, I can say, hey, I'm feeling angry here, but being angry back is not going to improve the situation. So how should I respond differently? Then you want to listen. You want to fully listen or really listen to what they're saying, right? Most people think they're listening, but really what they're doing is they're developing a comeback in their head, or they're hanging on to one of the first issues that they heard the customer say. Truly listen to everything the customer has to say, and they will feel heard. Acknowledge their feelings, right? Feelings are neither right nor wrong. They're just information, and they give you some basis on how to respond back to that individual. Wow, that is a bad situation. If I was in your shoes, I'd be feeling the exact same way. Let's see what we can do about it. Let me ask you some questions, asking questions to clarify what I'm hearing and what the real issue is. And then you discuss what needs to happen next, agree to the next steps, and determine who is going to apply those next steps. Who's going to be responsible? Is there stuff that they need to get to you so that you can move forward, or is it things that you need to do on your end to move their repairs forward, to move their job through the shop forward, right? We just went through a lot of information in a short period of time, and I know it's a lot to digest. So let me take a few minutes just to recap what we've been through. First, we learned that customer satisfaction is no longer the goal, right? It's rather a starting point. We need to have the satisfied customers, but we need to exceed their satisfaction. We do this by understanding what our contact points are. What are each of the steps, or what are each of the contact points throughout our processes? And does that contact point exceed, meet, or doesn't meet those customer expectations, right? We understand that those expectations our customers have are developed by everybody they come in contact with in any industry they've done business with. Even social media is on some of the industries that they don't do business with. Right? And we need to determine each of those contact points. How do we measure up? Are we exceeding, meeting, or not meeting those expectation points? And then what can we do? What steps can we brainstorm with our teams in order to make it better, right? There are some things that we can do at zero cost or low cost in order to enhance each of those contact points and create wow situations where we're exceeding those customer situations. First of all, we have to map it. Then we need to measure it. Then we need to develop our plans, put those plans in action, and then measure those results. the simple process map or listing it out on a sheet of paper and identifying where each of those contact points are is going to go a long way to helping you understand where you can move and enhance those expectations. Finally, we talked about dealing with difficult customers. Sooner or later, it happens to all of us. We learned first identifying how we're feeling can help us respond versus react. Beyond that, we learned that really listening to the customer and understanding what their true concerns or issues are can help us develop a real plan that put in place, and asking the right questions for clarification and agreeing on next steps in most cases will lead to a mutual solution and the resolution of their issue, and turn a bad situation into a positive aspect. So Matt, I'm going to open this up for questions. It was a brief view of what's going on with enhancing the customer experience.
All right. Well,
questions coming in?
No, that's not yet, but that's awesome. If someone does have any questions out there, please chat them to me and put them in the chat box. But looking at your information, so do you suggest they do, a SOPs for this kind of thing?
Well, what I really
standard operating procedures?
They can create standard operating procedures, but what I really suggest they start with is understanding what their current contact points are and how they're measuring up. Are they exceeding, or are they meeting, or are they below industry standards, right? Or where they think they should be in each of those, and truly have a conversation with their team members on where each of those are and understanding what the needs and wants for each of those contact points are. And that's going to lead them to what is it that they can do better? What can they enhance in those situations? Because it's those contact points that really define the customer experience and create whether or not they're going to be satisfied or exceeded satisfaction with each of those interactions.
So how do they train everybody the same way in the shop? Does everybody get trained the Barry Reinhardt auto body way? I mean, does a body tech train the same as a CSR? I mean, there's a culture there, right?
There's a culture there, and it's about developing that culture and understanding those contact points and interactions. Does everybody get trained the same way? I'd say that's training individuals is like people's personalities. Training is slightly different, whether you're a visual learner, whether you're an auditory learner or a kinesthetic learner, what's your primary style. I'd say you get trained in the same processes and the communication of the results that you're looking for, in each of those contact points, right? Because it's hard to train somebody on every scenario, what every customer and every personality is going to come in and do. So it's more about educating them on, if you're talking about interpersonal connections or contact points with a customer, it's educating them on how do you identify what personality somebody coming into the office is, right? What are some questions that you can ask to uncover what the individual's personalities are that are innocuous in nature, right? It's not like, hey, I'm going to do a personality test on you, fill out this form so I know how to talk with you. It's you learn how to read a person. You learn what questions to ask, and how they respond tells you what their inclinations are to their personality. And that gives me clues into how do I adjust my communication style to fit with them. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, yes, it does. So the importance of social media in this in this customer service world. Do you have any thoughts on that or suggestions? We all know that it's important to get, those face not but reviews, and when they're negative, and I will tell you I see them when they're negative, and it does. I make a decision. Well, I may not go that route and use that person's services, right? So, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, that's again when you have a mishap in their customer experience that leads to having the negative comments put up there on social media. No one wins a fight on social media between a customer, between two people about a particular service. If you do have a negative comment out there, I would suggest you create a standard way to try to connect with them and deal with them, and have them or have the ability to contact with them in person outside of that social platform, and see if you can resolve it that way. And if you can, get them to repurpose the post or do an add-on that they were connected with, and now they're totally satisfied or the issue's been resolved. When you have a good customer experience from the get-go, you should be getting those positive stories being put out there on social media. And that just helps you improve your brand. So again, let's not put Band-Aids on the issue, but let's dive back down into what went wrong to create that perception for somebody to put a negative comment out there. And let's look at the contact point. What's fallen down in that contact point, and what can we do to improve the root issue versus just trying to deal with the negative publicity that resulted from it.
Right. So continued communication with your customer is important. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So are there certain products out there that you would recommend that help the body shop? They're short staffed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're working really, really hard right now. Are there some products out there that help with that communication that you recommend, or
I don't
no?
have any that I recommend. The problem I have with some of the standardized communications is that people understand that they are standardized and they feel like a number at that point in time. They know that there was nobody behind the, maybe the initial template that was written that gets generated and pushed out. That helps, but it's not personal. It's not a real. To me, it's not a real connection. It's an update push.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have any that I recommend. I understand. But a lot of shops do use services that allow that to be pushed out. I think it loses the human element though, and the personal connection. If you're really trying to build a great customer experience, there needs to be some customization in there.
Great. Thank you. I haven't seen any other questions come through. So
okay.
I think what we're going to do is wrap it up, if that's okay with you, Barry.
Absolutely. I just want to.
And so before I did put your information up on the chat box. So Barry said that he would take phone calls from everybody. So feel free to give him a call if you have any other questions. I put his email address down there. Just so you all know, Barry did this on his own time. And so the people, the organizations that are involved in putting the PAY program, virtual training program on, appreciate that very much, Barry. Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your participants today. I have fun sharing knowledge and experience with others and helping people move their businesses forward. That's what gets me out of bed every day, and I appreciate the opportunity to do that on this platform with the ASA as well. Thank you, Matt.
Okay, thank you, Barry, and all you out there. Thank you for attending today. We got a full slate of classes and workshops tomorrow. So take a look at the schedule online, and I hope you guys all have a great evening tonight. I hope it's a safe one, and look forward to see you in more classes. Thank you.